Hey VC, what's up? It's me, yours truly. I am back to post a quick video here. This is just going to be a quick video response, actually probably not so quick, but a video response to Frank, channel 33 RPM, his 50 album challenge. Kind of a neat video he put up a little while ago. Um, kind of based on a really cool concept, kind of a simple one, and but just a very good one for us to revisit. So I think for me, especially, good timing on putting that out. But simply put, what he was kind of talking about was, you know, your collections build, and there's all this new stuff that you want. You're always, buying things, but sometimes you can find yourself in the habit of, and this is kind of what he said he found himself doing, was when he went to listen to music, he was kind of just going to some of the same core albums that he tends to go to all the time. So this was just kind of a challenge to go into your collection, pull out some records, in this case, the 50 album challenge, and pull out 50 albums that just have kind of gotten lost in the shuffle and maybe you haven't pulled out, spun that much, listened to, and blah, blah, blah. So I thought it was a really, really cool idea and definitely want to kind of jump on board and do the challenge. So, and make sure you go check out his channel too. I'll try to remember to put a link down below to go back in after I post this from my phone. Um, to go back in and put a link down there. He has a really cool channel. He does a lot of different things, which is nice. He shows music, talks about music. He does a lot of Q&A stuff. He talks about different subjects. So just kind of it's not a vinyl channel. It's just kind of a music channel in general, which is really cool. And his wife joins him sometimes, and she's really fun and adds a nice flavor to it too. So great channel. Um, so yeah, I saw his response, of course. Now I saw Billy Hurst, my boy Billy here in the VC. He did an awesome response to it as well. And I watched a couple others. And so what I tried to do is as far as the parameters of what I was pulling from, I just took a little bit from some different videos that I saw. So for example, from Billy Hurst, one of the great things he did, he took one album from each cube, because Billy has like a gazillion cubes of music. Yes, a huge awesome collection. So he pulled one album from each. So I thought that was really cool. So I said, okay, I have about 40 cubes. I'm gonna pull at least one album from each cube, and then I'll also pull a few albums from some box sets. So that's how I'm gonna pull my 50. And then I noticed on Frank's video when he was talking, like he was pulling stuff where he hadn't gone to. There were some things where he hadn't gone to that vinyl. Where he said, I've listened to the CD over the past blah blah blah, but I've never gone back to the actual vinyl records. I want to go listen to the album on vinyl. And so on a few of his things, that was kind of how he chose some of the picks that he had. So that made me kind of think too. I was wondering why I don't want to do it like that. And then I thought, well, I think what I'm going to do is I want to go in and pick albums where I can say I have not listened to a single song off of that album in at least the last year and a half, so somewhere in that ballpark. And I'm talking about I haven't had a song on this album pop up on my iPod shuffle when I'm working out, when I'm driving, whatever the case may be. Like I cannot remember hearing a song off of this album for at least the last year and a half. So that was kind of my parameter, was one from each cube, and I haven't listened to a single song off this album in at least the last year and a half. And I thought that would be kind of easy, but it actually became a little bit tough because as much as I do a lot of picking sometimes with my listening, where I don't just listen to all my albums from front to back. So, but I did end up finding 50, and I pulled them all out. I got them in the nice little crate here. That's gonna sit right beside my turntable, and I'm gonna do the challenge. So let's just kind of go through really quick, and I won't go into a ton of detail on each one because there's 50 albums here. So we'll start out here with the Pixies, Surferosa, classic album there. And I'm not gonna count this one. It's so funny. I was pulling these albums yesterday or day before yesterday, day before yesterday and yesterday. And last night I was watching a movie, and the song "Where's My Mind" came up on the movie, and I was kind of jamming to it. I was like, oh, I forgot all about that song. I'm like, nope, already pulled it. Doesn't count. So technically, I still haven't heard a song off that album in quite some time. David Bowie. Some of the early stuff, I Dig Everything, the 1966 Pie singles. A lot of the Bowie, I tend to get hooked in that Ziggy Stardust phase. You know, low, early 80s stuff. So sometimes his newer stuff and his early stuff, I can tend to, you know, kind of let go by the wayside sometimes. So that'll be a great album to rediscover. And here we have Miriam Makeba, one of my favorite African artists. You know, just a lot of great stuff. And this is one of the albums in my world section that I just hadn't pulled out in a while. So it'll be good to revisit her as well. Robert Cray, the Robert Cray Band. This is Bad Influence. I actually had 2 or 3 albums by him that as I was digging through, because that was another good thing about this challenge is I looked through every single album in my collection, so that was also kind of a fun process too. But yeah, I mean, love some Robert, just hadn't spun him in a while, so that'll be a good revisit. So right stay here, and this is Matador. I don't think I've spun this since I bought it. I mean, I bought it, listened to it. I don't think I've spun it since. So that'll be another good revisit. Trisha Rusham here. Straight from the Heart. Another one I haven't spun in a while. For those that maybe aren't familiar with her, one of the big hits that she had, at least the biggest hit off of this album, was Forget Me Nots. And if you don't know that song, I'm sure you've heard the song Men in Black by Will Smith. You know, take away here's the lyrics, and Men in Black is basically note for note Forget Me Nots. That's the song he sampled for that. So that's what kind of came off this album. Loose Ends. And this is a little Spice. Just one of the groups I really like from the 80s R&B time frame. Kind of their hit off of this album was Hanging on a String. Their follow-up album also had a really good track called Slow Down. Those would be the 2 songs I'd recommend checking out if you want to get a feel for them. But again, a band I always liked. Had this for a while and just haven't gone back to it, so that'll be a nice rediscover. Sharon, Joan, and the Dap-Kings. I learned the hard way. Always refer to them as kind of a modern day spin on old school R&B. I think she passed away a little while ago too. But again, just another album. This came out in 2010, and I've listened to it a lot that first year I got it, just haven't spun it much since, so that'll be a good revisit as well. And a little White Zombie. Make Them Die Slowly. Listen to a lot of Zombie, but again, just kind of some of the earlier stuff that I just hadn't quite gotten back to in some time. Here's one I was kind of shocked when I actually started looking at the track list. AC/DC Flick of the Switch. So I haven't really heard anything off of this in quite some time. So another classic. And from my Dio box set, I did pull Lock Up the Wolves. I don't think I've listened to this much since I first heard it after I purchased the box set a while ago, so this will be a good revisit as well. Same with this here, out of the ABBA box set, Super Trouper. I have a couple of albums out of that box that I tend to go to on a regular basis and just kind of leave some others to the side, and this is one I've skipped over quite a bit. And I can say the same thing about The Pretenders. This is Vive L'amour. And actually, I never even heard this album until I got the box set. So, you know, even overall, this is still a very new album to me, and I've only listened to it once, I think. So again, kind of a nice one to go back in and revisit. And then for my punk section, I did pull out a little Gay for Johnny Depp. I'm not sure how many of you might be familiar with this band. Name of the album is What Doesn't Kill You, Eventually Kills You. But yeah, just kind of one of those little, you know, wacky groups, but a fun album, to say the least. Another one from kind of my punk section, the M80s, In a Fury. So kind of some more cool, wacky stuff. I think this is on green vinyl too, if I remember correctly. But yeah, from 1993. But yeah, actually, I remember picking that up in Minnesota. So funny how you could have hundreds and thousands of albums and you can remember, at least I can. Actually, that's probably a good question to find out, but I can remember where I've purchased a vast majority of all my records. Next here, we have Korn. Again, I typically go to Follow the Leader and Issues tend to be the two Korn albums I go to all the time, so I haven't really visited this one in a while. And again, Hot Topic, Jefferson City, Missouri. I remember picking that one up. The Runaways, Queen of Noise. Again, just one of those I don't go back to very often. So that'll be another one to dive back into. Hanoi Rocks. Two Steps from the Move. Right? Yeah, Two Steps from the Move. Another one I haven't visited in quite some time. And this is one actually where I remember texting Billy Hurst a little while ago, a few months ago, because I actually forgot I had this album in my collection. When I first got it and listened to it quite a bit, I was listening to it on CD and just completely forgot I had the vinyl. And it's a total grail too, which is Ozzy Osbourne's Scream. I think the main reason I listen to the vinyl too is because the CD is because I have the vinyl sealed. So I still think even for this challenge, I'm not going to open this yet. So I'm gonna listen to it, but I'm probably gonna do it on CD. But yeah, again, one I haven't listened to in a while. And same here, Guns N' Roses, The Spaghetti Incident. Again, another sealed copy, so I'm probably gonna listen to this on CD as opposed to breaking open the vinyl there. Out of the soundtracks, I went to Light of Day. If you guys remember that movie with Joan Jett and Michael J. Fox. I actually need to go back and revisit that movie. I even had a hard time remembering details about it. Except The Rise of Chaos. Now, again, a decent album. I know with this Accept, you know, Blood and what's the other album? Stalingrad. I tend to short name of albums sometimes. Those are the two I definitely listen to the most. Now, this album, I remember I listened to it when I first got it. It's you know, good stuff. Still has that great modern day Accept metal type of sound, which is great. But I remember thinking the lyrics were a little weak on this album. I kind of felt like they were almost childish in some instances. So I'll be very interested to kind of go back in and listen to it, kind of take it back in and see if that feeling or thought has changed at all since I first got it and first listened to it. Then here you got New Shoes. Kind of some cool 80s stuff there. She had that hit, I Can't Wait, you know, from back in the 80s. Really cool video with that too. Very Peter Gabriel Sledgehammer-like. Sky. Be another good one to revisit. And this is one, as I've been digging over the past few months, I've been skipping over time and time again. I keep saying I need to go back and listen to that. Mick Jagger. She's the Boss. Cheap Trick. One of their newer releases. Woke Up with a Monster. And a little Weird Al Yankovic. Dare to Be Stupid. I have a number of his albums. What I tend to find is when I want to go listen to Weird Al, I kind of opt to go like on YouTube and watch the videos as opposed to just spinning the albums. So this will be a good one to revisit. Louise Goffin, Kind of Blue. I don't know how big she was or wasn't, quite frankly. I've never actually kind of, you know, looked at the history of any of her stuff. But I actually discovered this album because of the title track, Kid Blue. There's a movie I used to love. Actually, I still love. I have it on DVD now, but I used to watch it back when I was in junior high school, called Breaking All the Rules. Just another 80s silly comedy type of thing. But there's this scene where this girl's exercising in her bedroom, and the song Kid Blue is playing in the background, and I just always really liked that song. And then one day stumbled across the album and was like, oh, that's who sang it. So yeah, I haven't spun that one in a while. Sepultura, Schizophrenia. This again is one of those things where when I tend to go to Sepultura, I tend to go to, you know, Chaos AD and Roots, Bloody Roots, and all that kind of stuff. And sometimes I forget about the earlier stuff. Mr. Leo. And this is the best. It's kind of a greatest hits. Now, in this one here, this is a little bit cheating on those parameters I said at the beginning, because I pulled this out in a purge that I was doing about 6 or 7 months ago. But it was one of those albums where I was like, I can't really remember if that's one that I really want to keep or if I should. And so I did play side 1 of the first album, and I was like, oh yeah, definitely want to keep that one. So even though I have heard side 1, I thought this challenge would be a good opportunity to go through and listen to the whole thing. U2, boy. Another great album. You know, it's stuff like I Will Follow, and, you know, just, it's kind of that's some of that great early U2 stuff. Even though Bono kind of gets on my nerves now. And then here we have REM, Fables of the, and kind of the same thing what I said about some of the other groups there too. It's just one of those albums, you know, earlier stuff, and I guess this is what, 85, something like that. But yeah, when I go to REM, I typically go to Green. I go to Automatic for the People, kind of that time frame. So it's time to go back and revisit some of that. Peter Gabriel, Us. Another one I need to give a good spin to. I haven't listened to this one in quite some time. With Peter, but I naturally tend to go to his earlier stuff. And this is one I ought to be ashamed for not listening to for quite some time. The Electrifying Eddie Harris. And I say that because it took me so long to find this album. Oh, well, to find a mint copy of it. You know, so I found this one, Round Rock, Texas, actually. I remember for $8.99 a few years ago. But yeah, just really cool stuff, and that's what I pulled out of my jazz section. My gospel section, I pulled out the Five Blind Boys. Soon I'll Be Done. Really cool stuff, you know, kind of gospel music that, you know, 5 guys kind of, you know, singing in the baritone, really bass heavy, not really a lot of music or anything, so just kind of that old-timey type of emotional gospel. Pulled a couple out of the hip-hop section too. Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 5. I mean, just an absolute classic album here. You know, one of those legendary stepping stone albums in the world of rap and hip-hop. Because, of course, this had the song The Message, which is, you know, huge in that regard. But, yeah, again, just an album I haven't gone back to in a while. As well as my boys, UTFO. Definitely their worst album cover. But this is Skeezer Pleaser. UTFO was a rap / hip hop group I used to listen to a lot back when I was in junior high and high school. They're probably my favorite. UTFO, and then they also did a lot of collaborations with another artist called The Real Roxanne, and all kinds of great stuff. But this is one of their albums I just haven't gone to in a while. It has a song Split Personality, which used to be one of my favorites off of that. But, you know, it's kind of back when hip-hop was a little more just kind of playful and fun and, you know, that type of thing before it got all shoot 'em up, bang, bang crap. Television Personalities. I remember this is some VCLT that I got from Sydney. This was a long time ago, too. I think back in 2014 is when I got this from her. It's like some VCLT. which I really miss her being in the VC. I think her username was Chica or something like that. But I don't know if she was like 17, 16 or 17, somewhere around there. And you would swear the girl had been on this planet for like 60 freaking years. I mean, her knowledge of music, old school, new school stuff. You know, she was a great guitar player. She did a bunch of Beatle covers, all kind of things. I mean, just like a bundle of just music knowledge and everything else. So VC definitely misses her. But this is kind of a cool piece she sent and thought I would like. And yeah, it was really cool. I know I listened to it a number of times and just haven't gone back to it in the last couple of years. So that'll be a good revisit. Sir Mix-a-Lot, Swass. Some more great old school stuff here. I probably listened to this so much in high school, I've already listened to it enough for one lifetime. But, you know, Buttermilk Biscuits, Posse on Broadway, Swass, and of course, you know, Iron Man, which is kind of a play off of Black Sabbath's Iron Man, with Metal Church actually being featured on that album. So Metal Church played the song. That'll be a fun one to revisit. Agony, First Defiance. Again, another nice piece of my metal section. I haven't gone back to it in a while. Bob Mould. Definitely my favorite album by him. Has my favorite song by him, which is Ego Override. Jennifer O'Connor. This is Here With Me. Haven't listened to this in a while too. I was watching a movie one time and there was something by her in the movie, and so I, went to YouTube, looked it up, blah blah blah, bought 2 of her albums and listened to them, a bit when I first got them, and just have not gone back to them. So that'll be a nice revisit. LCD Soundsystem, This Is Happening. Another really good album. I used to listen to this on a fairly regular basis, and then I got my hands on 4533 by them, and it's just like whenever I think LCD, I immediately go to that album all the time. So this one definitely kind of fell by the wayside. It's another good revisit. And a group that Derek V introduced me to a long time ago, which is Hot Chip, The Warning. Number really good tracks on this, and time to revisit it. And then I have like 6 more here, I think, 5 or something like that. Eric Church, The Outsiders. That's what I pulled out of my country section. I listened to this when I first got it and haven't really spun it since. So Ian Drury here. New Boots and Panties. Kind of a classic album there. And this one definitely got lost in the shuffle. Blondie, Pollinator. Bought it when it first came out, listened to it a couple of times that first day, and just hadn't flipped back to it since. And got 3 more. This is My Sex. Computer games. Again, early 80s new wave type of stuff. Bad Company. Dangerous Age. Again, with Bad Company, I tend to always go towards their earlier stuff, especially self-titled. Probably my favorite album by them. I mean, it's hard not to. That's just such a strong, just straight up power classic rock album. But yeah, we're venturing into some of the later stuff here with Dangerous Age. And last but not least, Little King Crimson, Clark's Tongue and Aspic. And again, this is, a great album. It's just when I typically think, oh, I'm gonna listen to King Crimson, of course I go to Court of the Crimson King. So I have to give this a little love and kind of dive back into that. So there you go. Those are my 50 albums for the 50 album challenge. And so I'm actually going to stop the video, post it, and I'm going to start actually spinning stuff today. I'm going to go through a few of these today. So ought to be fun. Again, Frank, great contest idea, great stuff. And as always, VC, let me know what you think, and we will talk to you soon. All right, take care, guys.